Can you guys see my screen?
It's loading.
Yeah, man.
Yes, I can see your screen.
Okay, so first off, we need to, before we go into understanding or let's say talking about optimizing Exchange Online for remote work, what is Exchange Online per se? Exchange Online is a cloud-based emailing and calendaring service. It's part of the suite you get when you get your Microsoft 365 service. It provides you as a business an opportunity, a secure platform where you can manage your emails, your calendars, your contacts without having to think much about on-premises infrastructure or think much about the infrastructure behind the emailing services. I think in 2020, the world woke up to the realization that you can't have like traditional working again. We can't have like the traditional way of doing things. We have to find different ways where productivity will not be reduced regardless of the pandemic or regardless of challenges that would rise, and that gave birth to remote work, and which is something many of us are enjoying right now. So basically, the Microsoft 365 cloud is advantageous to remote work because it basically allows you to have different services all in the confines of your browser. That is, you don't need to worry about the infrastructure behind why something is working. You don't know why. You don't need to bother yourself about the servers, the routers that make all this possible. All you do is you pay for it. It's called software as a service. You pay for the software and you make use of it without putting much thought towards the back end of how it runs. So Exchange Online is one of such service that allows you to run your emails without you having a physical server. So Microsoft already has these data centers. It's not as if Exchange Online is just like a miracle, a magic or a miracle that we see in churches. It's something that has a back end in the sense that Microsoft has physical data centers around the world where we have these Exchange servers that allows you to just purchase a part of their service without having to worry about things like security patches for your server, things like updates for your Exchange server and the likes. So in a software as a service kind of system, which is Exchange Online, what you worry about is basically configuration of how you use the system. There's also a shared module of responsibility when it comes to the security of your emails, because you also have to you have a part to play in the sense that you have to sensitize your workers about malwares, about phishing links. You have to sensitize your workers about clicking on links that they don't even have anything about, and they notice it's an external link and they just click on. You have to sensitize them about it. You have to configure your email security, let's say for example the anti-spam, based on your business needs. So that's why we call it a shared model when it comes to security of your emails. So one advantage of Exchange Online, I hope you can all hear me. I'm not talking to myself.
No, can hear you. I'm hearing you.
All right, now. So one advantage.
I can hear you.
All right, now. One advantage of Exchange Online is the fact that you can access it anywhere. With your browser, all you just need to do is you go to outlook.office.com. It takes you to your email. From anywhere in the world, you can access your email. Now, we're not saying the cloud service is like the holy grail, that nothing can happen. We're not saying that we cannot have issues. So one of the important factors when it comes to optimizing is always be in the know. What I mean by always be in the know, that is, you must always be up to date with the informations being passed by Microsoft. So I'm only talking about this topic. So basically, we had a global outage yesterday that affected thousands of people. They could not access their emails, and it's things like yesterday that will make you understand how big Microsoft is, how big Exchange Online is. Loads of people were raising tickets back to back, all because they could not access their emails. But what makes the Exchange Online a very good service is that Microsoft is proactive. We have what we call the service health. It tells you, it gives you information about the different incidents happening. It gives you up-to-date information about the incident. It tells you what Microsoft is doing about it and the rest. So it's always important to be in the know when you choose a cloud service. So one of the criteria I would say for you to choose an email service is, are these people proactive in their communication? Now, for example, why would I choose Exchange Online over, for my remote work, why would I choose Exchange Online over, let's say, your generic Gmails, your normal free services? One is, like I've said, is the proactiveness of Microsoft to communicate with you when there are issues. Their proactiveness to react, to resolve it. They are giving SLAs, that is their standard level of agreement with you, that okay, we are giving you 90% uptime, and they ensure they stick to that. Also, the extra security that comes with the Exchange Online is another reason why you should choose Exchange Online over the generic services, over the free services. Then we also have to look at collaborative features, because as remote workers, you need to collaborate and still be productive. One way Exchange Online can help you in that is through contacts, calendars, and shared mailboxes. So in a scenario whereby we have 2 or 3 remote workers that are like the HR of an organization, and they want to communicate, let's say they want to communicate with prospective employees or employees, they want to communicate with prospective employees. Exchange Online makes it easy in the sense that you have just one email called a shared mailbox, which is hr@yourcompany.com, and 3 of those remote workers can access that same shared mailbox from anywhere in the world and communicate with people seamlessly. And when the person receives the email, it will not say it is remote worker A that emailed you. It will say HR emailed you. If it's even the remote worker B, let's say in South Africa, it will not say it is remote worker B that emails you. It says HR. So that's the collaborative features Exchange Online gives to remote work. Also, we see the security and compliance aspect of it. Now, the cloud service comes with default security features that makes it easy for you to fight malware, to fight spam, and other issues that can arise for a business. Now, we see that with remote work, there are some disadvantages. Let's say, for example, it makes it easy for fraudsters to carry out a man-in-the-middle attack or a business email scam. Because if, for example, let's give a scenario now. Let's say I myself, CEO Temidayo, okay, we are in the same physical office, and Ruki sends me an email. Maybe we are trying to get a contract, and Ruki sends me an email saying that okay, what we'll need to pay for. Let's say I work in like I'm the head of accounting now, and I need to pay for something, and I get an email from Moki saying, okay, this is the email address you are meant to send it to. If the email sounds fishy, I can just quickly go and meet Ruki on our desk. Why you send me this kind of email? Now with remote work, it breeds a form of laziness in the sense that you just want to click on something. You don't want to fact check things. You just click on it. Okay, this person I'm going to send money to. You send it. So, but with Exchange Online, we have extra layers of security that that allows you to avoid such scenarios and helps you to fight known issues, known phishing issue methods, known malwares, known spam formats. These are things that Exchange Online, in collaboration with the Exchange Online protection, can help you fight. So that's another important aspect of choosing why. That's one reason why you should go for Exchange Online. Like I said before, you don't need to maintain any form of server. You can scale it. It's easy for you to scale. So as if, for example, you are a startup, you have like 2 or 3 workers working remotely, and let's say if one of those workers become redundant and you want to scale down, it's easy for you to do that. With Exchange Online, you can just go ahead to convert that mailbox to a shared mailbox, because you don't need to, in Exchange Online, you don't need to pay for a shared mailbox, and you cancel the license. So scalability is another advantage of Exchange Online. Then we have, like I gave before, an example of the uptime with Exchange Online, and it is accessible anywhere. Now, so we're going to be quickly looking at how you can optimize it. Let's go back to my slides. So when it comes to Exchange Online, network is also key, because you are accessing this service over the internet. So it's important that you have a good bandwidth and a good network, in the sense that your home internet should at least be able to give you up to, even if it's 150 kilobyte per second. That's small. Even with that level, if your network is that small, that is, your internet is that small, you can still access your internet, your emails on the web. Another way you can optimize with Exchange Online is that it gives you a cached ability. What do we mean by cached ability? So for example, if you have the Outlook application, you can locally store like 6 months of your emails on your PC. That is, even if there's no network, it is still accessible. That's what we call the cached ability of Exchange Online. And this helps you as a remote worker in a scenario whereby, for example, you're a type of remote worker that likes flexing. So maybe you travel to the Maldives, or you travel to one of these countries and you don't have access to internet. You can still bring up old emails, 6 to 12 months, that you can access and see them without your internet connectivity. And this is also one way you can optimize Exchange Online, because if you keep your mailbox in online mode, that is, it is always online, it's going to slow down your mailbox, especially if your mailbox is of a very large size. So it is really encouraged to always use your Outlook application in cached mode. That would help you it speeds up your Outlook performance. It allows you to access it offline. It also gives you the ability to manage your emails even when there's no internet connectivity, like I said before. Now, another thing you should also consider is avoiding VPNs, because most times it's easier when there is no network between the network you want to connect to. So let's say you have your home network, A VPN is going to create like a virtual network in front of your network, which cause like redundancy and latency. So that means the amount of hops to take your network to reach the network server increases because you have a network in front of your network, which is basically what the VPN does for you. And it can also impact your connectivity speed. So it's not encouraged to use a VPN if you are trying to optimize or use Exchange Online as a remote worker. Because there are some organizations that use VPN for different uses. Like for example, there was a scenario I picked where they use their VPN to securely connect to their services. They have different services that that can only be accessible through their VPN. So they required a VPN to always be in front of their network and also on their computer for them to be able to access those office resources. In such scenarios, you also need to plan for it. That means you need to get a good VPN one. Also, your internet speed must be top notch. You can't have a slow network, then you now put a VPN in front of it, which makes it slower. So you also need to think of that when you want to get a VPN. Another thing you should also note is if, for example, you have a firewall in your network, you need to allow the IPs. We have what we call allowed URLs, allowed IPs and URLs for Exchange Online. These things must be allowed on your network for you to be able to use Exchange Online. Also, one other thing you need to consider for performance sake is do not have like too much Outlook add-ins, like we see in the slides. Multiple add-ins can slow down the performance of your network, of your application. Sorry. So if you notice that you have your email added to your Outlook application and it's dragging, one of the troubleshooting steps is to go to your Outlook and try to turn off the add-ins and see if that helps. One automatic way to do that is to run your Outlook in safe mode. So you just run the switch command, outlook.ese/safe. In safe mode, it automatically disables your add-in for you, and you can use that to test if that's what's affecting the performance of your mailbox in the application. So quickly, we're looking at the best practices. One important thing to note is that Exchange Online gives you 50 gigabytes of emails for plan 1 and 100 gigabytes for plan 2. So and the Outlook application by default has an OST size. We're not going to go in deep into all those things because this is just a free class. It has an OST size of 50 gig. And if your mailbox is more than 50 gig and you then add it to your Outlook application, it can reduce the performance. You can notice that you might try to send emails, it will not go. Emails will be stuck in outbox. There will be different behaviors you'll be experiencing in your Outlook application. So one way to stop that from happening is to regularly archive emails. And the good thing about Exchange Online is that it has what we call retention policy. It's a way to automatically clean up your mailbox. So you don't have to keep doing it manually, which is something most other email services do. You manually download the PST, then you delete stuff, or you use the POP protocol to add your email. Then it downloads everything from the storage in the cloud. But Exchange Online or Microsoft 365 per se makes it easy for you. With retention policies, you can configure a policy to automatically archive your emails, to automatically delete them after a certain period. So there are different things you can do to manage the mailbox size. Also, like I gave in the earlier part of this, like I said in the earlier part of this our teaching, that always try to stay informed. Microsoft is very proactive. They would always inform you when there is an ongoing outage, how long it takes for them to resolve it, and all these are reported in your dashboard. And always keep an eye for Microsoft updates. Yes, they would always change the interface, the naming convention. They always try to improve the options you have. So always try to, as a remote worker, try to be in the know. Another thing you should also, before we go into this, another advantage of Exchange Online as for remote workers, especially we in IT, is that it makes troubleshooting easy. Now, if for example you are in a infrastructured environment where there are physical infrastructures, emails are not working, you have to go into the server, you have to be physically on ground to check if it's a power issue, you have to check. But this will not suffice in a remote setting. So as for a remote kind of things, for a remote kind of setting, Exchange Online stroke Microsoft 365 make it easy for IT guys to be able to troubleshoot what's happening. To a user is saying they cannot send or receive emails, you can troubleshoot this from your end. You can check if it's maybe it's a mailbox size, maybe their mailbox is filled up, maybe they've sent too much emails and Microsoft have blocked them. All this can be done from the internet, from your browser. You don't need to be physically present anywhere for you to troubleshoot Exchange Online issues. Virtually, you can always troubleshoot them. So that's basically what we are discussing today. We've not gone deep into, this is like the fundamentals. We've not gone deep into all every other aspect because we have a very robust paid service, a class where you'll be taught the nitty-gritties of Exchange Online, the configuration, how you can set up the retention policies, the different security measures you can take on to help boost your security. All the stuff. We have a robust cohorts that will soon be ongoing. So that's where those will be discussed. So for what we've discussed today, do we have any questions?